Hi, I'm Sven Swinnen, and you're listening to the Functional Tennis Podcast.
Hi, welcome to the Functional Tennis Podcast. I'm Fabio Molly, your host. Today I'm speaking to Sven Swinnen. Sven is a Swiss coach. He's the coach of Dominik Stricker. And Dominik, if you don't know, is ranked just outside 150 in the world. He's 19. He won the Junior French Open, and ever since then, his career skyrocketed. So we talk about his role there. We talk about his early days at the Swiss Tennis Federation when he trained with Roger Federer. Tells us a bit about that, and just tells us tips, tricks, stuff he's learned from Federer, being with him in Dubai, and also stuff he's left just from being a coach over the last numerous years. So yeah, there's some good tips and tricks. If you're a coach or parent or player in there, let me know what you think. Before we get started, a shout out to our podcast sponsor, Slinger. They make the awesome portable ball machine, the Slinger Bag. Check out their website, slingerbag.com. If you have any questions about Slinger Bag, let me know. I've been using one now for maybe 18 months at least, and they're awesome. Actually, over 18 months. They're awesome. And yeah, just let me know and I'll answer your questions. But let's get straight into our podcast episode with Sven. Here we go. Hi, Sven. Welcome to the Functional Tennis Podcast. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. Excited to hear about your tennis journey, your career, and your work at the Swiss Tennis Federation, and the great work you're doing today with some great players, or great player, but I know you work with so many. So maybe you can start off just telling our listeners a bit about you, your early tennis days, and you played a bit of college tennis as well.
That's true, yeah. Well, it all started through a school friend, actually. He convinced me to try tennis when I was 7 or 8 years old. My parents weren't involved in tennis at all, so I was like, yeah, I give it a try. I went to the local club with my school friend and tried it out, and I fell in love with tennis, and since then I'm actually still involved in tennis, yeah. And then I started to take some lessons also in tennis because I loved it so much. Wanted to get better, and started try to beat my school friend, which was impossible at the beginning. But then I really got into it, got better, and then when I was 14, I actually got selected to the federation to join them with Roger. Actually, we have the same age, so we both. Went to Lausanne. In those days, it was still in Lausanne, the Swiss Tennis Federation, and we both went there and spent 2 great years over there. And then after that, I think that would be in '97, the whole federation moved to Biel, where it still is today. And I finished up school in Biel. And then, like you said, I started to play some college tennis also.
Nice. And going back to your younger days, I only realized that after speaking to you the other day that you're the same age group as Roger. Doing a bit of research. Quickly tell us, what was he like growing up? What was it like living with him? Was he as competitive as ever?
Yeah, I mean, it was a funny time, you know. We those 2 years when we were 14 to 16, we spent a lot of time together. We were in the same class, but yeah, just normal kids, you know. Not maybe not always so serious like he is today. We also had our stuff we did, which wasn't always so professional, maybe, but. And he was also struggling the first year. You know, it was both for us. It was in French the whole school, and all the practices we had to learn French, which wasn't so easy for us at the beginning. And he was really homesick also the first year when we were down in Lausanne. But after that, after the struggle he had the first year, he really started to take off the second year and never looked back. And improved.
And how did you do against him in practice sets?
Yeah, in the beginning, I was able to get some wins here and there, but then after 15, he was getting too strong for me, and then was getting tough, and I had no chance
Do
anymore.
you still bring it up the odd time if you speak to him? You remember those days where I used to kick your ass?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to talk about those times. You know, we were 14, 16, around there, and then when we see each other, we talk about those times always, about the funny stories we have. And it's always great to remember those times when you were
And
kids.
why do you think he excelled, say after the first year, he really started, maybe the gap got bigger between you and him. Is there any specific reason that stands out to you looking back?
Well, he was always considered really talented, and you were able to see it already when he was young, and but then he was still struggling a little bit, like with the backhand. The people when he was small, he didn't have so much strength, to hit it that well. But it didn't really matter to him. He just believed in his tennis really, and then he kept on swinging that racket, and he believed in himself and did it, and he kept on going, and then he really started to improve so fast.
So you did a stint in college. Whereabout were you in the States?
Yeah, that was interesting. A friend of mine, he went to the University of Oregon, so I got in contact with the coach, and then I started talking with him, and I felt it was a good fit. And then I saw that they're in a great conference, with in the Pac-10 it was. Now it's the Pac-12. I mean, with the schools like UCLA and USC, Stanford, also all those big schools. And then, it was really a good fit. And I decided to go to this university in Oregon, and it was a great time, And that sometimes it's a little less famous school, maybe tennis wise, but for me it was a great fit because you're able to grind your way up in the lineup, and then you play those big schools. You have some tough opponents. I played one of your Irish buddies, Conor Nyland. I think I played him once or twice in college. So it was great to have those great opponents, and it made me a better player as well.
Connor the weekend. Our club does play.
Oh, really?
Does play Wimbledon in an annual fixture. Sometime every year, it's every second year it's here, and then the other years it's in Wimbledon. And yeah, he had his work cut out. It was a tough day at the office. The Wimbledon brought over a good team.
Yeah.
But so your time in college, are they the Mighty Ducks, or are they just called the Ducks?
Yeah, we call them sometimes mighty also. Yeah, if they do well, But usually it's just the Ducks.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you did your 4 years over there, or 3 or 4 years, and then you decided to give the pro game a little shot.
Yeah, exactly. I started to improve a lot in college. I played well. I got better and better. And then after college, I was like, hey, why not give it a try, And then I started to play professionally for 2 years, or at least try to. I was mainly on the Future tour, played some Challenger, and I got to around 450, I think, in the ATP ranking. But then I was kind of old already. I was around 25, 26, and then you start maybe doubting. And then Swiss tennis came, the federation made me a great offer to start coaching, So then after that, I was like, okay, I give it another shot for a couple months. But that was the end already, You start thinking about it in your head. You can't play freely anymore. And then I decided to take the offer, which was great. I got into coaching with the Swiss Federation, which was great.
At that time, where was the Swiss Federation? Was it still in Lausanne, or had it moved?
No, then it moved already to Biel in Switzerland, where it still is.
And,
yeah. So yeah,
and what sort of size was the Swiss Federation? How many coaches are there? What's the training center like?
In Biel, it's getting bigger and bigger. Actually, it started pretty small with 5 indoor courts, and 4 outdoor courts. But now we're expanding a little bit. They built the arena where we play the Davis Cup in it. They have 3 courts also in there. We added a hard court outdoor and two more clay courts. So it's getting bigger and bigger. We added some housing also for the players. So it's expanding, and also the team of coaches, it's great. It's also getting a little bit bigger. Right now we have like 4 tennis coaches, we have the head coach, we have 2 conditioning coaches, then we have some people in charge of the under 15, which is great also. So yeah, it's a good team, and I like to
And
work
what
there.
was your first role when you arrived at the federation?
Yeah, that was the first time I tried something like that with a player, who came from the future level. So in the beginning, I was kind of 3 years assistant coach, which was I learned really a lot about coaching. I did all the education and stuff in Switzerland, but then I also got to work with all the national coaches, which was great. We had different coaches in that time span of the 3 years, and I got to know them all and was able to pick all the good stuff. I learned from them, and I tried to, hey, what is the strength of this coach? What does he do well? And I mean, it was really a great experience, and get to know this whole coaching
And
business.
were you working with like under 10s, 12s to under 18s, a mixture of ages or just specific ages?
No, that was also the good part. I saw everything. I went to Ticino, where we always have every year a camp for the 12, 13 years olds. I saw that, but then on the other hand, I was also on the road with the juniors under 18. Then all those summer cups, winter cups, under 16 I was doing, but then we also had some pros playing Challenger and Future. So I saw it all, which was really good, great to see all those segments, of
It's a good
coaching.
mix. And so more recently, you've been obviously it's well documented. You're working with Dominik Stricker, who had a good end to his junior career, Roland Garros champion. I'm not sure what his actual ranking is, and also Christian Bull. Is that his Christian Bull? Is that his name? Or Leonardo Riedel? Sorry, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
Leonardo, yeah.
Leonardo Riedel.
Yeah, they were both at the federation, Leandro and Dominic, and then also Jerome Kim. This was like in 19. We were in charge of that group. It was a great group dynamic. They were pushing each other to a good level, and they were all playing juniors Grand Slams, which was great. And then yeah, in Paris they played the final against each other, which was really special. 2 Swiss guys in the final. It never happened before. So that was great to see those guys battling it out, which was special. Also was Dominic never won against Leandro. The record was like 0-9.
Wow.
Uh, so he never won, and then in the final of Paris, he plays this unbelievable final, plays a great match, and wins it. And then after that, yeah, it really started to take off a little bit for Dominic. He got a really confident boost. He got invited also to the NITO ATP Finals in London, where he was a hitting partner, which was an unbelievable experience for him, and also for me, to see those top 8 guys practice and what they do, which was great. And then after that, we also got invited again for a second time to Dubai to practice with Roger again, and then he was well prepared, I would say, to play his first year on the pro
And
tour.
were you obviously going back to Roland Garros? Were you in the box? How did you maintain neutrality?
Yeah, well, it was actually then I was already more one-on-one with Dominic, so I was alone with him, and Leandro, he chose to go more private with one coach after the pandemic. It was after the lockdown we had in Switzerland. Then the group kind of split up, and I was then in charge of Dominic alone, but it was still obviously because I worked a lot with Leandro. It was also still a special situation for all of us.
And when Dominic went to Dubai with Roger, were you over there as well?
Yeah, I was, yeah. So it was, yeah, with Roger, it's always great, always to be there in Dubai to see his practices and how he also tries to help out the young kids. Focus on himself. Of course, he does his practices on his behalf, but he still takes the time and tries to give those kids some advice that can help them improve, which is obviously great for us.
Was I reading he told Dominic to yet improve his serve, and a big part of Dominic served really well in Roland Garros and helped him win the
Yeah,
title.
exactly. That was one big advice Roger gave him. Try to keep improving your serve. He said it's good, but if you want to make it on the men's side, it really needs to get better. Your serve. Don't be happy how you serve, and now it's one of the big strengths of Dominic, his serve. He improved it a lot. So. For me as a coach, it helps obviously if you have Roger who can give you some advice as well, which is great, and that I'm really thankful for.
Yeah, it's good if you can ring Roger and ask for a bit of advice. But what takeaway did you get from being there and watching, Roger train, working with his team, working with Dominic? For you, what did you leave Dubai saying, okay, I'm going to try and use that a bit more, do that?
Yeah, the one thing that always inspires me when you see those practices which with Roger is his passion he has for the game. It's unbelievable. Still now, now he's like 40 years old. He's still working on his comeback, and that's just a great motivation for me and also for the players. To see this guy doing so well and being so focused also in the practices. That's the other part. His on and off switch is just amazing. He can be relaxed, talk about anything on the bench. When he has the short break, but then. After he steps up, it's again full focus on the tennis, and he tries still to get better, even with 40 years old, he's still trying to improve his game.
And obviously, Dominic must be quite serious as well when the on switch is on, because Roger's not going to invite you back if you're not fully
Yeah,
committed.
that's true. Obviously, I remember the first time when they were in Dubai, he invited all three of them to practice there. So they were really nervous at the beginning, but then after a while, that they see how relaxed he also is, and he's there also to help them, and then they start to play their level. And obviously, if you have Roger on the other side, you will keep your focus.
Yeah, yeah. And going back to Dominic quickly, he's under the support of the Swiss Federation, is he
Yeah,
completely?
he is. He is. He's still with the federation. Now you kind of because he has almost because we don't have so many players in his ranking. So I'm really occupied with him. But we said as a federation, yeah, he's still young. We need to keep supporting him, and that's what we do. We try to help him out still as good as we can.
And does Big Stan ever swing by?
With Stan, he also practiced already. Yeah, he's also working on his comeback now. But they're also, that's great of those two Swiss champions. That they care about what's coming next. I think that's great to have those two champions care about the juniors. When they're in Switzerland, they always call and say, "Hey, do we have some juniors who can practice with us?" And then we go either we drive to Zurich where Roger often practice, or Stan likes to practice in Geneva or in Lausanne, and from Biel it's not so far, and then we drive down there and have some great practices with those two champions and try to get to know them and try to get some tips from them, of course.
Nice. And Dominik's ranking now is 150. What's the goal by the end of the year? What would you as the coach be
Yeah,
happy?
it's funny always. Last year he started the year with nothing. He was like thousand something, and then we said, hey, at the end of the year, it would be great if he would be top 500, and then in March he wins the challenger in Lugano and has achieved the goal already, and this year it's funny enough, we said it would be great if you would be 150 at the end of the year. Now he's getting close, but yeah, we would still be happy if he would be around there at the end of the year, because now it's the new situation also for him a little bit with defending points.
Yeah.
That's again a little bit new situation for him. You have to get used to it. Okay, how is he going to handle this one? But yeah, it's already great that he can play the qualities of the Grand Slams, and then you go step by step, try to get obviously to the main draw of the Grand Slams, like everybody else also wants to.
And what date is Lugano back
Yeah,
on this year?
it's going to be in March also, so it's coming up. So I'm gonna wonder how he's gonna do. Will be a nice and challenging time, obviously.
We'll know in a few weeks. But so do you enjoy? You're with him all the time. You're training at camp. You travel with him. Do you really enjoy the traveling?
Yeah, I do. I mean, for this job, you kind of need to like the traveling. If not, you're in the wrong job, I would say. Of course, it's sometimes it can be long the road, but it's kind of part of the job. Now we just came back from Australia and the US. We literally went around the world. We flew to Dubai, then we Dubai, Melbourne, and then from Melbourne we went straight to LA, once around the world basically, and then played the two challenger there in the US, and then we went back to Europe. So it was a long road trip, but we had some fun times also, and obviously it's great if you finish with some good results. That always helps.
Yeah, and you just had Davis Cup there last weekend. Were you at
No,
the
this time
event?
not. I have also small kids, so this time I was like, he had school holiday, so I was like, I need to teach some skiing now, not tennis this time. So I teach him some skiing, which was great because we had great weather and everything was also good. Yeah.
You bring your young
Yeah,
kids out
yeah, I
skiing,
did.
is it? Or you actually, or you're a ski
No, no, I'm not.
instructor?
I'm not. I'm trying to just just show him a little bit how to get down. Yeah, that's it. But I'm not an expert at all.
And will your kids be skiers or tennis players?
Tough to say. We'll see. We'll see. Whatever he likes. Right now he's in track and field. He does some track and field stuff. So maybe he chooses that. We'll see. Whatever he likes.
No pressure. And I only noticed this after I got because I spoke to you the other day. I got off the call and I was like, wait, I have Sven's number in
Hmm.
my phone here already. I thought it was
Hmm.
really strange. I was like, then I looked at the message. I was like, wait, he bought camera
Yeah,
mounts
yeah,
from me.
exactly. I did. I did.
I didn't. I didn't connect
Yeah.
those dots. Did you use them? Like, did you use them? Are they any good now? I could get myself into trouble here, but were they
Yeah,
used?
I like to see what you all do, and it's an amazing job I think you do, and I like the product. It's always, I think the video stuff is getting more important, and I think it's important that those young kids see themselves play also. And sometimes it's tough to find some good mounts to hang up those cameras and stuff. So I saw your product, and I saw you got a new one also. So maybe I need to order. I need to order the new one as well. Exactly. So
Yeah,
maybe I need to check that one out as well. Maybe it's even better. Yeah.
great. And that's good. It was just so funny because sometimes we've these good connections, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
even know I've these like great connections
Mm-hmm.
already. So I was delighted to see that. But let's end it. What bit of advice do you have for players? You've worked with a lot of
Mm-hmm.
juniors. Obviously, you played Federer as a junior. You know him. You work with a Dominic who's risen from 0 to 150, let's say, in just over a year and a
Mm-hmm.
half,
Mm-hmm.
roughly. Grand Slam junior champion. What advice do you have for the juniors out there? What's important apart from passion? What do you think is really important that they need to know and
Yeah,
understand?
for the younger kids, what I realize sometimes is a little bit this free play. They take a lot of group lessons, private lessons, and sometimes they forget a little bit to play on their own. I think especially the younger kids, go out there and do some stuff on your own, whatever it is, play some mini tennis, play some 3 points, hit some balls against the wall, whatever, it doesn't always have to be a lesson, just go out there, have some fun with your friend. That's then you also improve, and then maybe another thing for the younger kids I sometimes see in Switzerland is maybe the tournament support. Maybe it gets a little bit. You see a lot of parents there, but maybe I don't know if in other countries it's different. But in Switzerland, sometimes the coaches maybe don't see so many matches of the kids. I think that would be one point which is really important to because it's another player if he plays matches. So I think that's really important. And then more on the coaching side would be maybe really know your game, know your strengths, how do you win your matches. We sometimes as coaches also focus maybe too much on the weaknesses, and it would be better to, hey, how does this guy or this kid win the matches, and try to, yeah, for example, like with Dominic, he had a good serve, but was it good enough? No. You need to build it. You really need to build the strengths, and then you can start winning matches with that stroke, and don't focus too much then on your weakness. You just have to find the good balance. Of course, you have to work also on the weaknesses sometimes, but don't get stuck focusing on the weaknesses, I would say.
Nice, thank you. And just speaking about Dominic and working on the serve when he made that commitment, is that just every day showing up with a plan, of course, hitting like balls, 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 and obviously evaluating with you back and forth. And there's just that number one focus every day on
Yeah,
improving his
I
serve.
would say so. Yeah, for sure. He and also the location we worked on a lot. He was struggling a little bit to hit some locations. He was using almost too much the lefty slice serve a little bit. Couldn't really hit the other spots. And that was one main focus. Hey, you need to start hitting those other spots. If not, you get they read you too well. And then after he started doing that, he realized, oh, I'm getting some more 3 points. And then he started to believe in it, and he kept on working on it.
Nice. Well, Sven, thank you very much for jumping on. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And you hope you've a successful year. And obviously now you're just about to crush the 150. So
Yeah.
hopefully we could change that to at least top
All
100
right.
very
Yeah.
soon.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.